Up Comedy Festival presents Zoomathon in support of Care4. Please donate today. And now, your host, Patrick McKenna!
Yay! Yay me! Yay me! Yay me! Hello and welcome. What a fantastic show we have for you tonight. Can't thank you enough for being here. It's not an easy thing these days, being an entertainer, trying to reach out to the public and find out what's clicking in your heart and how can we connect. And this is what we're trying tonight. We're going to zoom into your homes with all these great comedians for a fantastic cause, Care4. And I'm sure a lot of you know why we're here, but I'll give you a little heads up anyway. Care4 is a fantastic organization that maintains and submits all the work for the home caregivers in Eastern Ontario, from Ottawa on up through right up to Pembroke, which is where my son lives. And I know the understaffed environment up that way and how they can really use more and more people. And to make that happen, you need staff and you got to have organization and management. And that's what Care4 is all about, setting up success. And anyone who knows that has a caregiver in their home, how important that person is, they become your friend. And having somebody leave and not come back is very difficult. Sometimes that has to happen and change up for a new caregiver because of funds. And that's where we come in. We can have some fun tonight, make a lot of money, make a lot of people happy. It's going to be a really good time. So why don't we get started with our very first comedian? That's why we're here, isn't it? This is a fantastic young man. He's kind of young and new on the circuit, actually. He's got an interesting name, and I'm going to have to read it because he's a fine fellow, and I don't want to screw this up. It's Paul Wroblewskis. He's a fantastic young comedian. He's been on a lot of new shows in the CBC, The Debaters. He's been traveling all over the country doing shows. He's been the homegrown comedian in Montreal for the longest time. And his boyish charm is what really gives him that takeaway element. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, keep them apart, together, over and over again, and laugh your head off and enjoy Mr. Paul Wroblewskis.
Hello, everybody out there on the internet. How's it going? My name is Paul Wroblewskis, and I'm a stand-up comedian. Well, I hope I'm a stand-up comedian. This would be a weird place for like a real estate agent to be. All right, we're going to take a break from the comedy, and we're going to sell you some houses right now. No, I'm just joking. No, I'm not in real estate. Trust me, I don't even have proper IDs right now. I ain't selling nobody houses because I have no IDs right now. No, my name is Paul Wroblewskis, and I'm your favorite Ojibwe Lithuanian stand-up comedian. Stand-up comedy. This is live, right? No, we're leaving that in there. I'm your favorite Ojibwe Lithuanian stand-up comedian, probably your only Lithuanian Ojibwe stand-up comedian, and I'm so honored to be here. Actually, I do want to break away from the comedy, from the shenanigans real quick, and I do want to send out a special thank you for Care4 for having us, Care4 for all the amazing work that you do. I can't imagine what the last 2 years were like, so I just, like I said, big shout out to you. There's no way you should be thanking us for this. We should all be thanking you for everything y'all do. So big shout out to Care4 and shout out to John for having us. I look at the poster, and there's so many amazing comedians and performers. Like, there's superstars on the poster, like superstars. And then there's me. I use this on my resume. I put this poster, like I attach it along with my resume now. Whenever I apply for jobs, I'm like, check this poster out. Look at me. But anyway, thank you for everybody involved, John, for inviting me here to be a part of this internet comedy show. I'm recording here in beautiful Popple River First Nation. It's a reserve. It's a reserve, man. You guys heard of that, right? It's where you made us live. I'm kidding. No. It's not gonna be one of those nights. You're like, ooh, no. But yeah, I do live in a beautiful reserve called Popple River First Nation here in Manitoba. You guys should come visit, man. You know, I don't think there's enough white people coming to reserves. I changed my mind. You probably should ask permission before you start showing up on the reserves. Just to be safe, you should probably ask phone someone. Don't just be showing up to reserves, or else there probably will be police involved. They're like, oh no, they're trying to steal this land back. Just kidding. We're not. Ooh, he's getting political. No, we're not getting political. I do want to talk about moving back home. I haven't always lived in Popple River. I also grew up in Winnipeg for a little bit. which is funny. Actually, I do have my family doctor from Winnipeg actually here on the internet. So big shout out to Dr. Williams. Our family doctor is watching here on the internet. How you doing, Dr. Williams? She's not actually a fan of my comedy. She's not here to watch the show. Oh, no, 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 no. She has no sense of humor, my doctor. She is not funny at all, man. In fact, Dr. Williams likes to talk shit all the time. No offense, doctor. You're a great doctor, but she's always talking silly to me, man. I was talking to Dr. Williams the other day, and she goes, Paul, you're a big fella. And I go, you know what? You are a good doctor, Dr. Williams. You got a good eye. I am a big fella, Dr. Williams. This is why you get paid the big bucks. And she goes, no, Paul, you got to take this very seriously. She goes, you're a big fella, and a heart attack will just sneak up on you. And I look Dr. Williams in the eye and I say, Dr. Williams, I grew up in the north end of Winnipeg. I said, ain't nobody sneaking up on me. This is how we stand. When you grew up in the north end of Winnipeg, you just learn how to stand like this all the time. You know how hard it is to apply for a job when you stand like this? I applied for a job in another province. I was like, okay, here is my resume. You can check the references right there. And yeah, give me a call. Let me know how it goes. And like, that's Winnipeg. Winnipeg is a rough city. It's got me shook. Because I grew up most of my life in Winnipeg before I moved back home to the res, you know? I was used to Winnipeg. I used to think I was a tough guy. But I'm not. I'm scared of Winnipeg. Last time I went to Winnipeg, I was downtown. I was going to get out of my car. I was getting out, and then I saw a man walking, and it's Winnipeg, so of course he had a stick. It's Winnipeg. So the guy had a stick, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait inside of my car. A lot of people in Winnipeg do that. We wait till it's safe. We have a saying in Winnipeg, wait till it's safe. That's what Bob FM, put on Bob FM and just wait till it's safe. And I got embarrassed because as the guy got closer, I realized that it was just a blind guy. It was just a blind guy. He was just trying to make his way wherever he was trying to go. And I didn't get out. I could have got out. I was all embarrassed, but nope, I stayed in my car. You know, I locked the door as soon as he got close, man. This is Winnipeg, man. The old blind guy gotcha trick. The headline says fat guy robbed by blind guy. That's not an uncommon thing to see in Winnipeg, man. I am not gonna be a victim again. I have been a victim in Winnipeg. Not too long ago. It happened 3 years ago. I was waiting for the bus. I got mugged by a bunch of kids. They took all my stuff. And it was crazy because about 50 minutes after they stole my stuff, they gave me all my stuff back. It was just an improv class. They were just doing improv. It was street improv. I was like, you guys got me. You guys are really convincing. A little Filipino nerd is like, we're really sorry. I was like, Winnipeg's a rough city. Even the nerds are tough. Even the nerds are tough, man. That's why I had to get away from Winnipeg. You know, it was a little rough. So I moved to the res 2 years ago. I moved back home to beautiful Poplar River, man. And I don't regret it at all. I don't know why I said that at the end. I swear I don't regret it at all, man. But it's crazy. I didn't know this when I moved back, that the reserve actually had a wolf problem. Like I escaped Winnipeg because I had a gang problem. And I come to Poplar and they have a wolf problem. It's the same problem, bro. You can't feed them. You got to watch your back. And this is crazy. This is about a month after I moved back. I was chilling at my mom's house because that's where all the food is and all the laundry detergent is. And she goes to the store. She comes back home. There's a big ass wolf on our porch. And God bless my mom. I love my mom with all my heart. But she is not good under pressure, bro. She is not good under pressure, Red. She saw that wolf standing on my porch. She started honking at me to stay inside the house. She's like, stay inside, son. These are stay inside honks. Now, I don't know if y'all ever been honked at to stay inside your house. It sounds a lot like, come outside right now. Honk, honk. That's all I heard. She came back from the store. Them sounded like ice cream honks, bro. Them sounded like I got ice cream bars and burgers in the truck. Come outside right now. I didn't think twice. I got up. I didn't even put my shoes on. I just ran outside. Ice cream. It's scary, bro. I opened up that door. I see a wolf this far from me, 2 feet from me, big wolf. But you know what? I don't think the wolf was ready for all of this. I surprised the wolf, and the wolf did a nervous, like, wolf sneeze. Like, that's all I heard from the wolf. I thought I was going to get growled at. All I heard was, I can't do a wolf sneeze. There you go. The wolf sneezed, bro. And I told my mom, I was like, you know what? I didn't shower for 4 days. I don't think this wolf liked what he smelled down there. Saved my life. I told my mom, I didn't shower for 2 days. Saved my life. No, but I love moving back home. It's a little different. It's isolated community. And I know you guys are sick of the word isolation, man. You're like, oh, not isolation. But I mean, we're isolated before lockdown happened. Isolation means for us is like, we have to take a plane to come see us. There's no way in or out of town. It's like Alcatraz here. Only one way in, only one way out. But that could be scary, actually. Because like when you get sick here in town, you have to wait for a whole ass plane to come and pick you up. That could be very stressful, man. We actually had an incident last summer. My cousin got sick and she phones me and she's like, Paul, can you come with me? I need an escort. I'm getting flown out. I'm not feeling good. Can you take me? And I was like, free ride to Winnipeg? I was like, oh no, I hope you're okay. But hell yeah, free ride to Winnipeg, BLTs, McDonald's, of course. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I hope you're okay. Of course I will come with you, cousin. And it was funny. Like, it was very tense. We're at the nursing station and we're waiting for the plane to come in. And the nurse, this was funny. She came up to me. She was cute, eh? Cute little nurse. She's like, oh, can I ask you a few questions? I was like, I'm an open book, nurse. I was like, ask me anything you want. I was like, then what do you want? You want to go on a date? What do you want? And she goes, no. And she's like, I need to know how much you weigh. I was like, what? I was like, that's a weird way to flirt with me, nurse. You need to know how much I weigh. You worried about your car? I was like, let's take my truck if you're worried about the shocks in your car, lady. And she's like, no, no, no. She's like, it's not for me. She goes, the pilot needs to know how much you weigh so he knows how much gasoline to put in the plane. And I was like, are you seriously asking me that right now, lady? I was like, look at me. I was like, you tell him to fill it up. I was like, you fill it up and then you bring some more gas. You bring some more jerry cans with you, man. Tell him to bring some extra barrels of gasoline with him, bro. I don't know why we have to play with numbers right here, nurse. She was cute. She was nice. She was being nice to me. Anyway, that's just one of the things you have to deal with living back here. But I wouldn't trade any of this for the world, man. I was actually going to shoot a show out for you guys outside. That's how nice it was today. But I thought I saw a wolf. It was probably my neighbor's dog, but I thought it was a wolf. What are you gonna do? But no, I hope you guys are enjoying my energy. I hope that's what I'm gonna call it. Usually I'd say comedy, but now when I do pre-recorded Zoom shows, I'm like, I don't know if this is comedy. This is just a fat, angry guy in his house all by himself. In the middle of the bush, just yelling and laughing. So I don't know what we call this exchange, man. I moved into this house 2 years ago. It was haunted. And then 2 weeks later, the ghosts, they just left. The ghosts were like, you know what? We've had enough of this guy's bullshit. We are out of here. Even the ghosts don't want to hang out with me, man. I didn't know this. Like, this is a very small town. We have 900 people. So when I moved back, the pandemic happened. And everybody, all the couples, all the single people paired up with each other. Everybody's taken, bro. They say that this community is dry. We're talking, it is dry, bro. There are no single people. There are 6 single guys on the reserve. It's me, 2 of my other uncles, and 3 guys who live across the river, bro. It's just us waiting for other couples to break up. We're like, oh, there's something spicy going on with this couple. We all actually freaked out though, because there was a lady from another reserve who showed up around Christmas time, and all the single guys were like, oh my God, what do we do? We had to have a meeting. It's like a union meeting. All right, everybody settle down. Obviously, I get dibs. No. It was a big riot at the singles meeting. But there was a lot of questions around this girl too. You know what I mean? My cousin came up. She's like, I hope you don't go after her. I was like, why? And then she's like, well, there's a rumor that this lady, the reason why she's here is because she burned down another house on another reserve. And I was like, I was so desperate, I didn't even want to hear it. I was like, we don't even know what the house did. I want to hear both sides of the story. You know, we don't know what this house did to this lady that made her burn it down. And when you say she burned down a house, another thing that comes to my mind is like, she's probably good at barbecuing. I'm like, ooh, she likes to cook. Ooh, she likes that spicy. Anyway, she moved back to her res right after that, before I even had a chance, which was probably for the best, because I like this house. I don't want this house to burn down, man. That's funny. Actually, since we're talking about relationships and stuff, I'm getting a little sentimental here. I'm going to tell you one more story before I go. This is about the first time I kissed a girl. Yeah? You know what? Before I say this is a nice sentimental story, huh? It happened on Valentine's Day. Not Valentine's Day last month. No, I mean in grade 6 or grade 5. I'm going to say grade 4, just to act cool. You know, I got kissed when I was in grade 4. So I went to David Livingston Elementary School in Winnipeg, and I would eat my bologna sandwiches at recess by the skating rink. That's where all the fat kids would eat. There was 2 fat kids on the other side eating bologna sandwiches, like making sure nobody gets our bologna sandwiches. And this cute girl in my class, Cindy, she comes running up to me. She's like, Paul, come here. I was like, okay. I was like, I didn't want to give her my sandwich. I was like, okay, what's going on, Cindy? And she's like, no, come here. I want to show you something. And then the closer I got, she ran up to me, and then she kissed me right on the lips. I was like, oh, I guess I got to phone my mom and tell her how serious this is getting, because we're going to get married. This is my girl. Cindy is my girl now. And I was in love. And I was walking back to the class, and my buddy Joseph comes running up to me. He's like, Paul. He's like, did you see Cindy? He's like, oh, I hope you didn't see Cindy. And I was like, bro, why are you talking about my girl like this? First of all, keep my girl's name out of your mouth, bro, or we don't have problems. We gonna have problems, bro. And he goes, no. He goes, I'm glad you didn't see her. And I was like, why? And he goes, because she said that she's going around and she's kissing all the ugly kids. I was like, what? I was like, no, I didn't kiss her. I definitely didn't kiss her, and I definitely didn't give her my bologna sandwich. I did give her my bologna sandwich. Anyway, I didn't even go to class. I just jumped on the bus. I went home and I watched The Price is Right and cried at home. But anyway, that's the story about my first kiss. There you go. That's not even a joke. I just felt we were sharing some good energy here. I wanted to get intimate with you. But anyway, my time is up. I want to thank you guys so much for having me. I just, like I said, all the work you guys are doing makes all of this worth it for all of us. So, you don't need to thank us. We're the ones should be thanking you for all of this. So I just want to say, hope is just around the corner. And I hope that for just a little bit of time, we kind of helped you get your mind sort of off of things. It's ugly everywhere. And, my advice is to you, just keep smiling and keep laughing. And eventually, that hope, it's just around the corner. We're going to get there. And, it's going to be worth it. I think when everything goes back to normal, we're really going to be able to appreciate each other a little bit more. And that's what I'm looking forward to. Thank you for having me. Have a good night. My name is Paul Rabowskis.
Oh, listen, Paul Rabowskis, ladies and gentlemen. What a fantastic, he's got such a huge career out of him. He's a fantastic young guy, really, and you can see that he's got a big heart, big heart. You fill in the joke on that one, okay? All right, next, I want to push the button again. There you go. Elvis has not left the building. There we go. No, I'm just gonna. There, I flushed Elvis's toilet. Now, what has happened next? We're going to talk to the director of Care4, Steve Perry. We met Steve last night, if you were watching the Tete-a-Tete show, and you saw how the comedians actually beat the Care4 people. And basically, Steve's answers were ridiculous, careless, unthought, but yet we still had a blast. He's a fantastic guy, and I'd like to introduce you to him now, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome the director of Care4, Mr. Steve Perry.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Perry, and I'm CEO for Care4 Health and Community Services. I am absolutely thrilled to be partnered with Crack Up Comedy Festival this evening in support of programs and services that we deliver to support individuals living with dementia. There is absolutely no better way to help us get through these really challenging times than to share some laughs with the people we love. So sit back, relax, enjoy yourselves. I know you're going to have an absolutely great time. Take good care.
Thanks, Steve. That was great. Thank you very much. He's doing such great work. And I know he's up in the Pembroke area covering, as I said, where my son is. So basically, Steve, I need your home number. That's what it comes down to. Our next comic is a fantastic guy. He's an Ottawa home relative native, and he's been working there for a couple of years at Absolute Comedy and traveling around Ontario doing fantastic shows, getting started with Yuck Yucks and Absolute, as I said. And he doesn't have necessarily a large TV career yet. He's going to, but just yet. So he wants me to let you know that he's a nice guy. That's really all he's got to offer. I mean, I personally think you could see him on a lot of TV if you watch your home security systems, but that's just me. I'm not saying he knocks on your door and steals your Amazon products. He could. He has that time because comedians aren't working. But in the meantime, you're going to have a fantastic time right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the fantastic Mr. Abdullah Yusmas.
Hi guys, how are we doing? So some people unmuted. We got it. Nobody unmuted. Cool, man. Thank you for that lovely intro, Patrick. I am not a felon. I just want to clear my name. All right. But I do want to say this. All right, guys. Let's just get this out of the way. Okay. I know I look like I work at a cell phone kiosk. Okay. That's a hurtful laugh. I'm actually, I look like the IT guy. Like it's my fault that Patrick's music kept going off. Sorry, guys. I got to work on it. They were just low on comedians, so just put the tech guy up here. Whatever. It's going to be a good time. You guys enjoying yourself? Give me a woo.
Yeah.
Not a yeah. So rowdy audience right here. All right. All right, guys, I'll tell you a bit about myself. All right. My name's Abdullah. And a lot of people, they like to always ask this question. So I'll get it out of the way. Okay. Some of you might be wondering what my background is, what my ethnicity is. People like to guess it all the time. Uninvited. Like I get Arab a lot, but I'm not Arab. I get Indian sometimes. I'm not Indian. Sometimes I even get Mexican. Like, I feel that people just look at me and they're like, okay, I don't know exactly what he is, but I can tell that he likes to eat round, flat breads. Like, I don't know if it's pita or tortilla, maybe naan, but it's definitely not a baguette though. That's messed up, guys. I like baguettes, okay? I grew up in Quebec for 6 years of my early childhood. Yeah, and after that, I moved to Pakistan. That's my ethnicity, Pakistani. Lived there for 6 years. And whenever I tell people this, they always ask me the same stupid question, right? They're like, Abdullah, what was it like growing up in an underdeveloped place? I mean, okay, yeah, sure. The streets are dirty. The language sounds goofy. And the food will give you diarrhea. But other than that, guys, things actually aren't that bad in Quebec. No, it's an all right place. Give it a shot. Like, you know, like I thought curry cleansed my system till I tried poutine, you know, better than kombucha for all you yoga people out there. Just curry in. Have you tried curry poutine? No?
No.
Doesn't exist. That's why I'm going to make it. It's a health thing. Downward dog, guys. Anyways, before I forget, by the way, let's get serious for a second. I just wanted to let you know that, you know, including myself and a lot of other entertainers, our tours, etc., have been canceled. So it's a tough time for us. I just want to let you know that I'll be putting up a link for my website after the show. I'm selling merchandise. It's really good hash. If anyone's interested. No, not a lot of hash smokers here. It's legal, guys. Come on. No, I'm kidding. Well, I have a lot of Muslim friends, right? They watch my shows and they don't like it when I talk about drugs in my performances. They're like, brother, we are Muslim. We do not do this drugs. Habibi, why do you talk about drugs? So I just want to try like a more Muslim friendly version of that line. All right, so here we go. Hey guys, I just want to let you know that I'll be selling merchandise after the show. It is really good halal hash. To any Muslim brothers in the crowd, okay, don't try it. It's it'll give you munchies, and fasting season is coming up, so it's not for you. No, and then I have other Muslim friends, right? They're on the complete other end of the spectrum. Like they don't care about any of the rules. Like they do all the stuff. They even do the big no-no. They eat bacon, and they do it in a very sketchy way still, though. Like drunk as hell, 4 a.m. in a bush behind Wendy's. They eat bacon the same way people in Pembroke, I assume, hook up.
Ooh.
Loseroo, guys. I love Pembroke. Never been there. But do we have any Muslim people here in the 10 people who are chiming in, whose mics are unmuted? No, that's just what I thought. Exactly, Pembroke. But no, I want to talk about this because the pandemic's been a really hard time for everybody, right? But here's one thing. As a Muslim guy, I'll give you our perspective. We haven't been complaining too much, all right, guys, Muslim people, because this is the first time for as long as I can remember that we haven't been the bad guys on the news, all right? Like I caught a break, and look, hey, as we all know, our fashion, very popular now, right? And everybody's got Purell now, so nobody's giving me dirty looks when I'm traveling with containers of clear liquids. Yeah, I'm loving it. It's a great time for us. On that note, on the pandemic note, I'm single during the pandemic. Really tough, really being single during lockdowns. So I've been doing a lot of online dating, but I've been using this app. It's a unique app. It's kind of like the Muslim version of Christian Mingle. Like, you know, it lets you meet other local Muslims over some food. It's great. Check it out. It's called DoorDash. It's always some dude looking like me at the door. He's already got the pizza, dude. Let's do it. Let's have a date, you know? Hasn't worked out yet, guys. No, I'm sorry. I lied to you guys. Really sorry for betraying your trust, okay? Don't use DoorDash to date because I'm not single. I've actually been in a relationship. We just 2 weeks ago, we hit our 2-year anniversary, me and my girlfriend. And she's lovely. She has a very interesting background herself. It's I've never seen it before. She's half Arab and half American. You know, like it's weird. Like her favorite food is a BLT, baklava lentil tabbouleh. It's disgusting. Don't try it. But it's a good relationship, and but we get in arguments, right? You're cooped in together for a year. You get in arguments, whatever. It's fine. But this is what she does. Every time we get in an argument, guys, she always sasses me. She was like, hey, remember, you better be nice to me because I can use my American status and help you get a green card in the States. I was like, girl, you better be nice to me because I can use your Arab status and get you banned from the States. Know who you are. It's good, man. It's a good time. We've been doing a lot of, locked up inside, so you can't do much. So we've been doing a lot of outdoorsy stuff. And I'm not an outdoorsy person. You guys could tell. If you get your beard lined up like this, you don't know how to start a fire at all. That's it. This is my skill, and that's about it. I know every Drake lyric. That's it. That's where my skills end. So we went camping. It was my first time camping. I didn't know how to do anything. So she got a little frustrated, and she was like, hey, like, do you guys not have outdoor education in Pakistan? And I was like, yes, we do, but only till grade 5. Then our school got a roof and walls. Then it was just math. Yeah, so some slow laughs here. It's good. We're catching on. I'll give you guys some time. Yeah. Also, I'm sure you guys can relate to this. When you're locked up in a relationship with your partner, what do you got to do? You got to spice things up. My girl wants me to spice things up. And it's going to be completely frank here. All right, guys. My girlfriend, she's kind of like a kinky person. Me, I'm not. I'm a boring person, right? Like my only kink, I guess, is that I like fishnet stockings, which is pretty normal. But even then, I'll wait till it's like a big occasion before I put them on. Like it's just Easter. I can't. That's just blasphemous. You know, I can't do that. But no, I'm kidding, guys. Obviously, I don't. That's a goofy joke. I know. What I actually do is in the bedroom, I dress up as like a cop or a fireman because my girlfriend, her fantasy is to be dating a guy who has a job, and are we guys, are we excited about the vaccine?
Woo!
Yeah, it's kind of a sad woo. Oh man, we're not doing good, are we? We're not doing good here. Look, we all know something happened. Canada screwed up, and we're at the bottom, end of the world in terms of vaccines. We don't have too many. I hope we did. Like, I'm just worried. Like, when it comes around to my time for getting the vaccine, like I'm 24. When it comes to, I feel like we're just gonna end up getting like some knockoff vaccine, some Alibaba Wish.com stuff, some not Kijiji, because it's like it arrived 6 weeks late. The labeling is all wrong. It's not Johnson and Johnson. It's Johnson and Jonathan on it. Yeah. Like, you got to assemble it yourself. They're like, hey, you do the work. Here's a syringe. Here's the antibodies. Here's the micro tracking chip. You do the work. That's a joke, guys. I don't believe that vaccines have tracking chips in them. All right. Kind of wish they did. That'd be kind of cool. RoboCop. But I'm happy, man. I'm happy to be even performing here. Really happy to be performing comedy, even if it's on Zoom. A round of applause for the Crack Up organizers. They did an amazing job, as they do live or Zoom. So a round of applause or woos or whatever, guys. There we go. There we go. And also, yeah, guys, shout out to Care4 as well. Lovely organization, and go support them. But yeah, it's great to be out here, man, performing for you guys. Because before comedy, like, I love doing comedy. Before this, I used to work at a call center. Some of you guys are like, yes, we could tell. Okay, just, relax. I know. I worked at a call center, and it was tough. The toughest thing was that all of our clients were American. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but Americans do not like getting calls from guys named Abdullah. All right. They have a distaste for that. So my management comes up to me one day, right, at this call center, and they're like, hey man, maybe try using like a more vanilla name, like something more common, more generic. And look, I didn't get offended, right? I was like, sure, whatever, it's a job. Like, I use the most common generic name I could think of. And turns out Americans don't like getting calls from Mohammed either. What are you going to do? Every other name on this Zoom call I could have taken, but Mohammed. I'll leave you guys on this, man. Maybe comedy is like therapy for me. I just want to talk to you guys. All right. And I'm going through something a little weird as a young Pakistani Canadian guy. Is that my mom is trying to get me to be arranged married right now. Yeah, you guys probably saw Indian matchmaking on Netflix. It's not a fable. It happens, which is fine. Like, it's her culture. Let her try. Let her do her thing. But the weirdest thing is that she does this by putting pictures of me on her Facebook. I don't know. Like, I guess other brown moms in the brown mom community like put bids on it. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's like eBay or what. Like, just a bunch of moms sitting in a circle scrolling online. Like, nope, pass. Oh my God, Fatima, come over here. Look at this one. I like him. He actually has 2 separate eyebrows. I don't know how it works, guys. All I know is that my mom has been telling me I've been getting a lot of proposals, right? Now, I don't want to be arranged married, but all I'm saying is that my mom's Facebook getting way more hits than my Tinder ever did. Okay. Even more than my DoorDash, if you could believe that. So I was like, what's up? What's going on? What kind of pictures is my mom putting on her Facebook, right? That's getting all of these Pakistani women so interested in me. Like maybe I'm smiling, maybe I'm, flexing my arms a little bit, maybe I'm doing like a booty pop, like a girl's night out. Like what's going on? What features of me is she displaying up on there? So I check my mom's Facebook, right? Turns out, guys, it's not my smile, it's not my arms, it's not my booty. The thing that was getting all of these Pakistani women so interested in me, I swear to God, it was just a picture of my Canadian passport. Thank you very much, guys. My name's Abdul. You guys have been lovely, and you guys are going to love your upcoming acts.
Oh, Abdullah Yusman, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic, Abdullah. Fantastic. See, what I tell you, you're going to be seeing lots of that guy. He's fantastic. That's great. We got an interesting change of pace right now. A lot of you know that John Candy, I think you've heard of him. He's one of the Canadian greats in Canada. And the Candy family has been huge supporters of Crack Up for years now, and they've just been fantastic. And we've been doing the Candy Awards for the last couple of years, and we're doing that again next year, which is wonderful to hear. But because of the change, the Candy family has been making a financial pledge for us. And the son, Chris, is here tonight, and he would like to explain how they've raised the money and where it's going to. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Chris Candy.
What's going on, Crack Up Comedy Festival? It's me, Chris Candy, reporting to you live from the comfort of my studio apartment in Los Angeles, California. Now, you're probably asking yourself, Chris, what's going on? Why are you at your studio apartment? Why are you even here? Well, Crack Up Comedy Festival, we got some business to handle. You see, back in 2019, I ran the Los Angeles Marathon and was unable to make it up to the Crack Up Comedy Festival to help do the things I do up there. Keep people happy, raise some good money, hang out, have a drink or two. It was super fun, but I wasn't able to make it. So what I decided to do while I was running the marathon was raise some good funds for Crack Up Comedy Festival. Now, John had a great idea, basically. We were working with that year the nonprofit organization Hilarity for Charity. Some stuff that really doesn't matter, no drama whatsoever. The money isn't going to Hilarity for Charity. We're continuing to work with them. There's no weirdness or anything like that. But the money that I raised in 2019, the $2,800, that's no chump change, is gonna be going to a new amazing nonprofit called Care4, and they work with dementia services. They're located in Ottawa. John vouches for him, so I vouch for him too. Well, I'm here basically because I need to write the check. And I'm gonna do that right now. So we're gonna make it $3,000 too. That's Crack Up, topping it off, which is really nice. And we're making sure that this is, it's gonna come out of your account, right, John? Because I'm just kidding, definitely. I'm gonna write the check now anyways. And right, John? I trust you. Yeah, he's a Canadian, he's a good guy. We're all nice people. All right, I'll set it up. Well, I present this check of $3,000 that I'm writing right now to Care4 via the Crack Up Comedy Festival, and I'm looking forward to running and seeing you all next year in 2022. Have a good one.
That's great. Thank you, Chris. Thanks so much.
The medical term is dementia of the Alzheimer type. Both of us really had a hard time coming to terms with what that meant and for the future. You lose little bits of yourself and little bits of your memory, and that's it's a constant adjustment over time. So it's heartbreaking, I think, for all of us, including David. Just the loss of that person's ability, and his delightful personality has changed somewhat, not a lot. He's managed to keep his sweet nature. Caregiving full-time as the family member is very stressful. Your whole life kind of revolves around that, or a lot of your life revolves around that. It's a full-time job and more. Sound right, David?
Yes.
COVID's just accentuated all the issues around dementia. The virtual program that Care4 has provided is kind of run in a very similar way to their day programs. It just gives the caregiver such a break from having to look after someone, having to plan for someone all the time. You've got a whole team of people actually doing that for you, helping you keep them active and involved. The staff, in particular, are able to make meaningful interaction with them, and that really helps them to keep who they are alive. The programs are really a lifeline because you know your loved one is looked after, that they're happy, that people will care about them and care for them. And it just gives you that 6 hours to work away in the kitchen and get meals ready, or run downstairs and put a load of laundry in. And, you know, it just is a really lovely routine. You don't get away, but you still get a break.
Well, thanks very much. And for Chris Candy's presentation as well, which was fantastic and so appreciated. And I'm really hoping that it's American money. That would be even better. Don't say anything to him. He wrote the check already. But right now, I'd like to throw over to John Helmke, the man that Chris was speaking of. Hi, John.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Patrick. And great job tonight, and great job to all the comics we've had so far. So yeah, I want to, thank Chris, for agreeing to put these donations towards Care4. And as you heard from that video, wonderful, expansion of their Stay Safe at Home programs and their virtual programs for families. And, Chris had mentioned that we had offered to top it up from the $2,800 he raised. But we've got better news than that, actually. We've done really quite well with the people who have taken advantage of our pay what you can ticket option for the show. And, we've decided that we're going to take all that money and we're going to throw that into matching Chris's donation. So we're going to be donating an additional $3,000 to Care4. So I'll be writing one check, Canadian, not American, for $6,000 that will come from the Candy family and from us at Crack Up Comedy Festival.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so hey.
That's a big choice. Thank you very much.
Thank everybody who came in on the shows tonight and last night that allowed us to be able to do this for you. So let's move on, and everyone again, continue making donations. When you make those direct donations to Care4, you also get a tax receipt, and God knows how important that is here in Canada. So keep it coming.
Fantastic. Thanks, John. Well, that's great. That's a huge donation, but it doesn't mean you can't donate. So get on the phone, pick it up, and take the time to donate, or just do it online. You can do it through crackup.ca, or you can go right to Care4 and also donate that way as well. We're looking forward to talking with you. They were mentioning that people getting the shots and so on. I actually got mine this morning. Yeah, it was great. I may break out into sweats at any moment now. I don't know. But I had it done at Shoppers Drug Mart, oddly enough. And I used my points and I got circumcised too. So they said they don't do those things, but I just called the manager in, and he ended up doing it. So it was good. He wasn't thrilled about it. I thought he was way more aggressive than he needed to be honest. That's just, I had it done once before, but I don't remember that one. So this is going to be with me for a while, and but it's a good place. I really appreciate them doing that. I couldn't get the points for it though. That's it's a one-time thing. So just be careful of that when you go in. Don't let them fool you on that. I got taken on that, boy. 2 circumcisions and no points. They saw me coming, I'll tell you. But it's great to have the shot. No matter what you go through, get the shot. No matter what craziness has to go on, because that's the world we're in right now. So just line up, get your shot, and laugh it off. It all works great. I really have no side effects.
Whoa.
No, my wife just was like 911, 911. He's out again. He's passed out. We got, what's coming up next? This is a great guy. I love this guy, Rick Curry, and I have been friends for a lot of years. And this is right, isn't it, John? We're going to Rick.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. And because he's also been like, if you're folks. Yeah, great. And if you're Ottawa folks, you know Rick already, and he's worked on the Rick Mercer Show for years. He has Gemini Awards and CSA Awards. He's just fantastic. What else? He was also in the Oh, he was the writer for all the musical shows that CBC does. He's just a fantastic guy. You know him right away. He's Ottawa's favorite. But tonight he's doing something a little bit different for us. It's not really Rick that's going to be here. It's his alter ego. And like most comedians, there's several voices in our head. It's just a matter of which one we're going to let out that you get to see. Tonight, Rick is letting out Dusty Sores. Ladies and gentlemen, Dusty Sores.
Hey.
Well, how do you do, folks? It's me, your old pal, Dusty. Well, I'm so glad to be part of Crack Up for Care For. They do such fine work, and I wrote a new song for y'all for this. It's all about the places I've been and the things I've seen, and well, I don't know who I'm talking to, who I'm fooling here. This song is called Four Walls. It is the extent of the places I've been. It's just been me and these four walls for the past 13 months. I have not left my house in over a year. I'm staying safe from the virus, of course, and I think my real issue is my hay fever. I am terrified to sneeze in public right now. I'm concerned that could cause a stampede, so I just stay in, and I'm good. I bought 400 rolls of toilet paper from a man standing outside of Costco last March in 2020. I got that for $10,000, so that seemed like a good deal at the time. And my cat has been giving me 6 feet of social distance since about 2012, so that's not an issue. I'm all ready for this. So it's just, the four walls and I have become quite acquainted. You could say written close. It does feel like the walls are getting closer as the time goes by, but we're good. But I got thinking that one of the greatest phenomena of the past 50 years is Pink Floyd's The Wall. And that was about one wall, the whole album. And this song is about 4 walls. So, no, I'm not saying this is a better song that makes it that, but it's just saying it has more walls in quantity. So without further ado, here's my song of my dedication to my 4 walls, my good friends, the 4 walls. Well, that's my country voice. Well, if these 4 walls could talk, they probably wouldn't have too much to say. They'd probably just spend their time bragging about winning that staring contest we have every day. Now the east wall is kind of bleak, so I painted different colors each week. Green, orange, or red or gray, it just depends on my mood that day. I'm picking colors the Doug Ford way. Now the next wall, it has a big screen. And that's what I watch when I'm not staring at my little screen. It's got movies and shows and docs and theater. And if you like sports, there's nothing sweeter than the place between the Yankee Masters and the Walmart greeters. It's good stuff. Now the third wall, it has a window. So I see my neighbor and I wave hello. Well, the poor guy was going poor 'cause his restaurant couldn't take it no more, so he switched it up and opened up a cannabis store. 27th one in the neighborhood. Now the last wall, it has a door. And I almost can't remember what it's for. But I think sometime probably later in the spring I'll ring off the door and tear off the screen and I'll head on out for my vaccine. But till then, I'll folks, and tip of the hat to the fine folks at Care4, and we'll see you down the dusty trail.
Well, there you go. The Dusty Soars, ladies and gentlemen. You can get that on iTunes, I believe, if you needed that. I don't mind being shut in. It's I've been having kind of a good time with this last year. I think the advent of having legal marijuana has really helped. The fact that they bring it to your door now, come on, I think maybe the marijuana people might be behind this COVID thing. Because I have ADD, so marijuana was suggested to me years ago, and as a sense of medication to help with my anxiety and things like that, and impulsivity particularly. And I must admit, marijuana is great for that. Like the impulse to get out of a chair, completely gone. So if you got to stay home, I think maybe marijuana might be that little thing you need before you get the COVID shot. And then you're happy to stay home because you can't even remember where your shoes are. So it's all good. It's all good. There's always sunshine somewhere in this crazy world. So you just got to smoke up and find it. You take your own time and do what you need to do. But that's the interesting thing about this year too. You're finding out about who you really are. Like my wife, she just found out who I really am. We've been married almost 40 years and she just found out. Yeah, that's not going real well. That's why I'm in here alone. But you know who we have next? We have such a treat for you. This is fantastic. This fellow is a UK comedian. He's now living in New Brunswick, and he's a fantastic comedian named James Mullinger. And then he's from the UK, as I said. He has a Comedy Central show as well, where he's interviewed like Tom Cruise, Prince Harry, Russell Peters, Amy Schumer. And he's also he was the best-selling book he has out now. He's a comedy editor for GQ magazine, and he's with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the fantastic Mr. James Mullinger.
Hello, James Mullinger here. Genuinely honoured to be here with you all. Thank you, MC Patrick McKenna, for that beautiful introduction. You are awesome, Patrick. Truly honoured to be here. I'm joining you live from St. John, New Brunswick. I know I don't sound like I'm from St. John, New Brunswick. This is how people sound in New Brunswick now. No, I left London, England, and I moved here to this beautiful country for a better quality of life. And so far, so good. I wanted my children to grow up in a country like Canada, where people are friendly and kind, as proven by the people we are here with tonight, the amazing people at Care4, who have really, really pulled out all the stops to make people's lives wonderful at this truly difficult time. I wanted my children to grow up in a country like that. I'm not going to bore you with stories about my kids tonight. I know no one wants to hear stories about other people's kids. We're sick of that on Facebook and in Zoom and everywhere else. We're all friends here. Let's be honest. Kids are a bit like farts, aren't they? Only like your own. So I'm not going to do that. This really does mean a lot. This is a fantastic event, and the people at Care4 are true heroes. They care about the communities that they serve because they're your communities too, and I love this. And I'm enjoying this period of working virtually. I know we're all getting a bit sick of Zoom, but I must admit I like it. I mean, look, you don't have to get up and go out to a live comedy show. I'm in your home. I'm live in your home. I mean, there's got to be something said for that. You don't have to get a designated driver. The beer prices are much cheaper at home, aren't they? So this is a wonderful thing. We should be embracing this. I say that. I started a tour this time a year ago, which of course was disbanded very quickly. It was a tour that I'd written the previous year that was quite oddly named Embrace Where You Live. Yeah, it seems stupid now to name the tour for 2020 Embrace Where We Live when we've had no bloody choice but to embrace where we live for the last 12 months. I think when I'm eventually allowed back on the road in the year 2029 or whenever Trudeau decides to vaccinate us all, I think I'll have to rename the tour Escape Where You Live. And my dear friend, the comedian Steve Patterson, said something beautiful recently when he said a light at the end of this tunnel, so we've got to find light in the tunnel. And that is what the amazing people at Care4 have been doing throughout this period, and what the lovely people at Crack Up are doing for us now. And I'm excited. We've been getting to know each other on Zoom, of course. We've all found this the way to do things. I had to pivot last March when that dreaded Friday the 13th came. Everyone said, oh, this is going to be a bad day. Little did we know it was going to be a bad forever. And I did some drive-in shows first.
Wow.
I'd never actually been to a drive-in movie theatre before. My first time at a drive-in, I'm on stage at a drive-in. It was very strange. I didn't know what to expect, and I couldn't see people. I could just see cars. And when I would do a joke, they would honk their horns and flash their lights. It was a bit like doing a gig in a Disney Cars movie. I had to pretend that the cars were people. At one point, I heard everyone honking loudly, and I couldn't figure out why they were all going wild. I hadn't actually done a joke. And then suddenly I looked down and realised I was being followed around the stage by a raccoon. These are things you don't have to worry about before. I never got chased around a stage by a raccoon in a theatre. But that pales into significance to something that happened in this very spot. I was doing a gig here a couple of months ago for an organisation for CEOs and presidents across Canada. And it was one of these Zoom gigs where everyone's muted, but I can see their little faces in their little boxes, right? And I'm doing doing what I do. I'm halfway through a joke, like mid-sentence, and they all just burst out laughing, just randomly. And I'm thinking, that's weird. They're all in different parts of North America. They're not in the same room. Why are they all laughing at something? What is this in joke? And I can't figure it out. I'm going like this. And suddenly, for whatever reason, I heard a noise behind me. I turn around. My youngest son, River, 7 years old, is standing there naked, waving his willy at them. I know! In 19 years of doing this job, I have never once had to worry about a 7-year-old waving his penis at the audience. But you know what really hurt? What really hurt is that I've never seen an audience laugh harder than they did at my 7-year-old's willy. So maybe when I'm back on the road, I'll have to take him with me. He can be my opening act with that rather one-trick act. But it's been a crazy time, of course. And I mean, people are losing their minds. I mean, here in New Brunswick, we've had relatively few cases, but people are still terrified. And we've got to be careful. We've got to be safe. I was walking down the street here this morning, walking my kids to the bus stop. The roads are very wide here, right? I'm wearing a mask, sensible. Man walking towards me also wearing a mask, sensible. He's about 30 meters away from me. Less sensible is the fact that he freezes when he sees me, another human being, right? He jumps into the road to avoid me, almost gets hit by the school bus. We need to get some perspective, people. There are other things to die of other than COVID, right? Like school buses. So we've got to be careful. I mean, shopping is a minefield now. I know some of us, we're going up maybe once a week or month to month to do our shopping at the Sobeys, and we're all doing the same thing, aren't we? We're following the lines, right? You have to follow the lines now, don't you? We follow the lines. But every now and again, you're in a bit of a rush, aren't you? And you're following the lines, and suddenly you spot the ketchup. You need the ketchup, and it's right there, but the arrow's pointing that way, and you think, well, there's no one around. Do you think I could reach? Do you think I can reach it? Am I allowed to reach it? And then someone appears, so then you have to kind of like walk backwards, pretend you're not going the wrong way. You're just walking backwards to get the ketchup. This happened to me the other week. I live in a small town just outside St. John, 10,000 people. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone's related. It's a very risky business, the dating game here. Everyone's related, and they don't even know it yet. You've got to be very careful. I'm in Sobeys. I'm reaching for the ketchup. These ladies see me. They can see these stupid eyebrows, and they're like, oh, it's him. It's the stupid British comedian. He was going the wrong way. I was mortified. I'm in the lineup. They're judging me. I'm thinking, this can't get any worse. I've got to get out as quick as I can. And then suddenly, horror upon horrors, I felt a cough coming on. Oh, this would be the year that coughing would be the most terrifying thing in the world. I'm trying to hold the cough in. My eyes are watering. I'm trying to hold it in. I think if I cough now, I'm going to be all over the local newspapers. It's going to be a scandal, especially with the stupid British accent. Has he got the British strain of the COVID? Ooh. So I was all scared. I'm holding it in. But then luckily, I felt a fart brewing at the exact same time. That's right, saved by the sting. Do you remember the good old days when we used to cough to cover up our farts? Not anymore. No, now we're farting to cover up our coughs. That is the very definition of the new normal. I'm not going to use any more of those cliches like pivoting or new normal, all those phrases that we're sick of hearing, unprecedented, we're all in it together, all these phrases that Trudeau was coming out with. You remember at the start of the lockdown, like a year ago, every day at 12, Trudeau would come out of that cash printing house he's got there for a little announcement, and he would come out every day for his daily cash giveaway. He'd be like, we got money for you, money for you, money for you, money for you. And we're all sat there with our virtual scratch cards going, got any money for British comedians in New Brunswick? No, nothing. Just £2,000 a month for the students that haven't done a day's work in their life. Okay, as you were, Trudeau, carry on. I'm sat there with my virtual scratch card going, I'll try again tomorrow. Maybe it'll be a rollover. It's a terrifying time. And I think what really we all got so confused by was the mixed messages. That's really the problem, isn't it? It's the mixed messages. Like, you know, I mean, a perfect example is we would say, so what happens now if we need to cough or sneeze in public? Are we no longer allowed to cough or sneeze in the face of total strangers in the Walmart anymore? Oh, no, we're not. Okay, because we've got to be safe. Okay, what do we do? And the politicians are like, I'm glad you asked. If you need to cough or sneeze, you do it in your elbow there, right? No, not in the hand, not on a back of a stranger's head in the showbiz lineup. No, you do it in there. Oh, thank you very much. We will do that. Oh, what if we see someone we know in the street? Glad you asked. Glad you asked, they said. You can no longer do hugs or handshakes. You have to do the COVID handshake. Or what does that look like, Mr. Politician? Looks like this. Hang on a minute. So we're putting all the COVID and the coughs and the colds and the flu in there, and then we're bloody rubbing it on everyone. My hands are absolutely spotless. They've been washed 50 times today, sanitized 75. You could eat your dinner off this. This is the filthiest part of my entire body. I'm sneezing in it. I'm putting all the coughs. I'm wiping my ass with this bar, and I'm rubbing it on everyone. It's terrible. I don't know if you spotted it. There is a different handshake doing the rounds in Canada right now. You've got to watch out for this one. It's called the Canadian COVID handshake. It's slightly different to the global COVID. That's the global COVID. The Canadian one goes a bit like this. You see two people that haven't seen each other in maybe since all this began, and they're walking towards each other, and they briefly forget what's been going on, and they're like, and then at the last second they remember what's going on as their hands, and they go, ooh, and then they start to go in for the COVID handshake like this, and at the very last second they go, screw it, and give each other a big hug, and it is always followed up with the sentence, we're in a bubble. How big is this bubble? Clearly not big enough. But Canada has been winning compared to the rest of the world. This was handled much better than in England. I would speak to my friends in England. They'd be like, oh, James, it's going great here. We're down to 10,000 deaths a day on my street. I'm like, oh, well done you. And I feel like Canada's handled it well. But it's been a very difficult time. But one thing that we've all found is that people have come together. I know it has been the hardest time imaginable for seniors. The highlight of my year, every year prior to this, was always to go and visit my grandmother in England. She's my best friend. Seniors have always been my best friends, the people that supported me through my childhood. Some of my best friends here in New Brunswick are seniors, and it was tough not being able to visit them, and you know, they do so much good for my mental health as much as I may do for them. And so not being able to go back and visit my grandmother at this time has been devastating. Of course, things like Zoom have been a godsend. But we have had this blessing in Canada of people looking out for each other. All of our friends at Care4 have done this. They've pulled out all the stops to make sure that this difficult time has been more bearable for our seniors, and I can't thank them enough for this. And we're sick of COVID. We're all sick of it. But the end is in sight, and this is going to be a time that we remember. Not for all of the misery, but for other reasons. I mean, I remember at the start of the lockdown, everyone was telling me to watch pandemic movies. They're like, oh, James, you've got to watch Steven Soderbergh's Contagion. It's about a pandemic. It's just like this. Well, I watched Steven Soderbergh's Contagion. It was nothing like this. There was not a single scene in that movie where a family of four did not leave the couch for 4 days straight because they were eating industrial-sized bags of Chicago mix and drinking boxes of wine for breakfast. Nothing like this. I did get very much into the box of wine. I was drinking lots of boxes of wine. My first ever box of wine. I found myself standing at the sink, sucking the bag, like my lips around the teat. I'm kind of milking the bag from the box of the wine. I look over and the time on the oven said 10:30 a.m. I was like, oh, it's time to start the homeschooling, kids. But my point is this. In all of these movies about global pandemics, in all movies about apocalypses, what we always see is this. We see the human race turn on each other with fighting and clambering and stealing from their neighbors and looting and rioting. And of course that's drama, but that's what we've always been led to believe would happen in the midst of a global pandemic. But conversely, what we saw here in Canada, thanks to people like Care4, is our communities coming together, neighbors looking out for each other, supporting our seniors in any way possible. And that's really what we need to remember the last 12 months for, is the way in which as Canadians we came together, we looked out for each other and we cared for people. And basically, the bottom line is, if I experienced the global pandemic like the last 12 months, would I ever have got to see my 7-year-old son waving his little willy at 100 CEOs? Probably not. So for that, we should all be thankful. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been James Mullinger. I'll pass you back to your amazing MC, Patrick. Thank you to the people at Care4. Keep doing what you're doing. And all of my senior friends watching, I can't wait to see you when that's allowed again. When we're all vaccinated, we can all have big hugs. And maybe Crack Up will do another live show in Ottawa, and I can come out there and be with you all. But until then, James Mullinger reporting to you from New Brunswick, sending lots of love and good wishes. And thank you sincerely for having me with you here tonight. If you want to see the very definition of the new normal, this microphone that I'm using here to speak, you'll notice when I speak loud, I move it away, and when I want to make a point quietly, I come close. That's microphone technique. The irony here is this isn't even plugged in. No, it's just a prop. I was given this microphone when I left London 7 years ago, gold microphone. I thought, when will I ever need a gold microphone? Turns out, during a global pandemic, the actual microphone you can hear me through is this one. Obviously, I can't stand here like this for stand-up comedy shows, because I'll look like Winston Churchill delivering an RKO radio address during the First World War. The Germans are coming, get in the bunkers. So instead, I use a microphone that's not plugged in. There's the new normal for you. Ladies and gents, James Mullinger reporting, sending lots of love. See you soon. Bye.
James Mullinger, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that's great. That's a different one when a bunch of CEOs are looking at your son's willy. That's going to scar some people. Although next year we should see a lot of running shoes with children's penises on them, I'm guessing. I don't know how this is going to work. We have another guest from the East, which is great. You know this lady. This is fantastic, Mary Walsh, and she's the founder of 22 Minutes. She's been in every Canadian movie going. She's just such a supporter of crackup.ca for years now, which has been fantastic to be able to count on Mary and her Rolodex of friends and her creativity. And tonight she's doing that again, because she's joining us as the octogenarian Miss Eulalia, and she's checking in her self-isolation, and she's waiting for her shot in the arm. So let's go visit her now.
Oh my, I'm so happy to be here tonight, for Cracking Up the Capital, sponsored this year by Care4. Now, they used to be the Victorian Order of Nurses. God, I love them. They've been taking such good care of people who needed them in this country for over 100 years. So I'm feeling a little less anxious tonight than I normally am these days, because, you've got to be so careful with what you say here lately. Everybody's so offended all the time by everything. You got to be woke and chill, apparently. But like I said to my granddaughter, Jeannie, I said, at my age, Jeannie, I hardly ever get to strike a wink of sleep. If I was any more woke, I'd probably be dead from fatal insomnia. And chill, oh, don't be talking. I'm half froze all the time. I can't get warm anymore. I used to burn red hot back in the day, when I was young, back before the earth hardened. Well, around 16 or 15, people would often say to me, enjoy yourself now, Eulalia, my dear, because this is the best time of your entire life. Oh! I used to think, gentle German jumpins, if this is the best time of my life, I'm just going to go hang myself somewhere. Turns out they were completely wrong about that too, as they were wrong about so much else. Because I've got to tell you, This is the best time of my whole life. Oh, and it's not like I've really gotten any better, you know, and I can only hope I haven't gotten much worse. What I have managed to get is a whole lot more like myself, and that is so relaxing, you know, because, of course, it's myself who I'm with all the time, not some construct and curious mixture of a person that I dreamed up out of thin air, trying to twist myself pretzel-like into whatever it was I thought other people might want me to be. Turns out, somewhat tragically, other people weren't thinking about me all that much, or at all, probably. Wouldn't that got you? But yes, I find I'm a whole lot happier these days. Life is not what they used to say it was. I mean, they were wrong about that, too. Turns out life is not a long, sad decline into a gloomy old age. Scientists have proven now in labs and everything that, beyond a shadow of a doubt, almost everyone, not just me, gets happier as they get older. And that's despite health conditions they have or other problems that might arise, or, of course, not arise in the case of the older gentleman. Yes, the secret to my life has been for me to just hang in there until I was around long enough to get used to being alive. And then my life started to seem real good to me, you know. Oh, yes, I'm a whole lot happier these days. Of course, we're all living longer, aren't we? 30 years longer than our grandmothers. My, 90 used to seem so old, but now, sure, 90 is in spitting distance. The older you get, of course, the older you want to get. I'm worried, though, because I'm already in my fourth act, really. And nobody likes a fourth act because the play is already way too long by then. By that time, both cheeks of your backside are after going to sleep. The older I get, the more of a treasure chest I become. I got the silver in the hair, the gold in the teeth, crystals in the kidneys, and a seemingly inexhaustible supply of natural gas. Oh my, yes, living alone is a godsend sometimes, though, isn't it? Especially if you're a woman, because after a lifetime of holding in flatulence, it's such a relief to just let go. I may be going a bit too far with it lately, you know, because Buddy next door asked me the other day if I'd taken up the tuba. Oh, yes, the older I get, the happier I am. I got no more time left anymore for all that old primping nonsense, you know, the endless flossing, plumping, grooming, gargling, abrading, moisturizing, deodorizing, plucking, shaving, lifting, waxing, firming, toning, that was required on a daily basis just to get me where I could go out looking like an average woman fit to face the world. All in the interest, of course, of getting yourself a fella, because by hook or by crook, you had to have a man, only to learn later on in life that getting a fella was never the problem. It was getting rid of one that was always the trouble, my dear. All the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of glossy magazine pages that have been and continue to be devoted to the getting and the keeping of a man, and the proper way to take care of, feed, and pleasure one in captivity. And still to this day, precious little has ever been written about how to get rid of one once they maneuver their way in. Oh, yes, men, they're like ticks, really. Once they burrow their way in, you've got a devil of a time, short of calling in Ace Pest Control, to get rid of them. Oh, thanks be to God, I was never so happy as when that damn biological clock of mine stopped its infernal tick-tocking, tick-tock, tick-tock. Get a fella, any fella, quick. Get him down and get the baby batter out of him. Oh, when I finally realized that there was not a chance in hell that I was ever again going to be the object of anyone else's desire, well, then I finally got the chance to become the subject of my own life. Oh, but the going has gotten really tough here lately, hasn't it? And yet there seems to be no place that the tough are allowed to get going to anymore. We're all locked down and locked in, but I suppose nothing lasts forever. But a whole year later, this pandemic is starting to look like it just might. Of course, what am I saying it can't? I mean, the universe itself is finite. Everything comes to an end, including me, of course, and that's the problem. What'll come to an end first, me or the pandemic? Our crowd, though, the older olds, were tough. We'll wait it out. I'd like to see the virus now that can take out our crowd. Sure, lots of us lived through the end of the Depression, the Second Great War, the polio epidemic, TB, MERS, SARS. Oh, the SARS epidemic, sure, that was nothing. I don't think I even washed my hands through the whole SARS thing. But this one, oh my, I got my hands washed right down to my wrist bones. And the young one at the start of it brought me so much hand sanitizer, I could bathe in it. But I wouldn't recommend it, though, using that Purell on the more delicate parts of the body, you know. Bits of me are still stinging. Oh, yes, the scientists say that life's happiness really picks up around 50. And thanks be to heaven it does pick up, because by that time, everything on me was starting to fall down. Oh, yes, everything collapsing. What said Mrs.? My neck, my back, my ducky, and my crack. So how grand it was to finally have something to start heading the other way. And for that to be happiness, the thing we've been pursuing all our lives, well, how good was that?
Amen.
I've had to practically stop using the interweb altogether, though. First, I quit Twitter, and I won't go back there. Oh, no, my dear, not until we start tweeting people the way we want to be tweeted. I mean, we've got to stop tweeting people like twats. Speaking of tweeting twats, oh, Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario. It sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? Some unkind people say, Doug Ford, he puts the moron in oxymoron. But it could be a lot worse, couldn't it? Because knowing Druggy Dougie, he could be out there putting the oxy in oxymoron. But we've got to look at the bright side, because they're always shoving positive thinking down our throats these days, aren't they? Easy to be positive, of course, if you don't find yourself tied into a chair at one of those damned private for-profit homes for the aged and infirmed, waiting for some vastly overworked and underpaid and exhausted personal support worker, or PSW as they call them, to change your diaper. True what they say, though, isn't it, about diapers? They call the diapers for babies loves and huggies, and the diapers for the old ones depends, because if you're a baby and you make a mess, they're still going to love you and hug you. But if you're old, well, it depends, yes. It depends if you're in one of those homes run by heartless corporate greedheads like Chainsaw Mike Harris. Yes, the same Mike Harris who slashed spending on everything, the whole shebang, when he was Premier of Ontario. And now he's running one of the biggest long-term care corporations in the country, hauling in the biggest kind of bucks hand over fist. Now, common sense would tell you, if you were old and vulnerable, you might not want to be at the mercy of Chainsaw Mike, a man who seemed to have a real nasty streak when he was Premier, didn't he? He took an axe to all the services that helped the most needy, and he always looked like he was enjoying it way too much, the laying pain on people's part. You might be happier being looked after by a crowd who for over 100 years have dedicated themselves to taking care of the sick and the poor and the old and the indigent. Yes, the Victorian Order of Nurses, God love 'em. Over in Japan now, they're leaving it to their robots to look after the old ones, make them exercise, you know, even entertain them. Of course, we have those too. We call them slot machines. Over there, they got robots that'll sit down right by your rocking chair, keep you company, and apparently those robots look just like little puppy dogs. Yes, something that sits by your chair, keeps you company, and looks like a puppy. I wonder, did they ever try puppies? And they got big old robot bears over there, too, that'll help you get out of bed. And that makes a lot of sense, of course, because if you've ever been camping, you know nothing gets you out of bed quicker than a bear. You know, they have sex robots now. Of course, don't tell me, ask me. I was married to one. After he achieved his primary function, he'd power down for a good 10 to 12 hours. Too bad now he wasn't programmed to please. I'll tell you, though, I don't like the way that my Roomba seems to be mapping out my house, you know. I think it's in cahoots with my smartphone, which listens to every God-blessed word I say. And if I was ever going to shop online, which I am not, all I'd have to do, sure, is yell out what it is I'm looking for and wait for the Facebook to put up an ad for it. Oh, look, all I'm saying is you can't let the aches and pains of aging get you down, mostly, though, because it's just too damned hard to get back up again. They're saying now that the key to longevity is not to eat sugar. Now, if you don't eat sweets, I don't know if you'll live longer, but I'll guarantee you it'll seem a whole lot longer. And remember, just because our crowd is not millennials, it doesn't mean we don't count. I mean, we're perennials, aren't we? Just sit back and watch us bloom year after year, just as bright and delightful as we ever were.
Amen.
Family means everything. They are who we call upon for support and strength to help us make it through hard times. Across Ottawa, thousands of seniors call upon their families every day. They are our grandparents, fathers, and mothers, and many of them are living with dementia. Dementia is not just a disease affecting our elderly. It affects families, turning children, spouses, and siblings into caregivers. The daily weight of responsibility on these families is wearing. Caregivers are left to give up their time to care for their loved ones. And though they bring grace, strength, and love to their new role, they need help. Care4's respite programs for people living with dementia give that help. While their loved ones are finding safe and meaningful ways to connect at Care4, caregivers are resting, taking care of themselves, and reconnecting with their lives. But COVID-19 has challenged how we're able to connect with and support these individuals. You can help us reach into people's homes in ways we never have before. Your donation today can help rebuild and enhance our virtual programming that better suits the needs of these families now and into the future. Dementia may not have affected your family, but if it did, you would want the support. You can help make sure it's there for those who need it.
It's such an important time to be involved with things like this. And Care4 is so fantastic because it not only helps seniors with dementia, but also, I believe it's called onset youth dementia, where people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, 60s are developing this. And they also have programs for that, which has got to be totally different than when you're working with seniors of what physically they can do and how long they're going to have to be with this. There's all forms of franchising when it comes to dementia. And then Care4 is there in every department. But because we're doing this tonight, we've been raising a lot of money, a lot of funds. So I would like to take time now to maybe call out to Trevor and give us an idea of how we're doing on the tote board, Trev.
Yes, Patrick, thank you. I just want to say quickly before I sort of jump to numbers, just how thankful we are at Care4 to you, all the comedians from tonight, from yesterday, the show that we did, just that you're lending your talents and your time to the organization means so, so much to us. And it's just the thing that I think surprises me throughout is just the sincere thanks and the words the comedians are saying for our staff. And I think our staff just sort of, they go about their work and they do it with pride and they do it with compassion. But to just hear, from you guys, just how meaningful it is, I think it's just really meant a lot to them. Anyway, you asked about numbers, and I will.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. So math has never been something that I've enjoyed, admittedly, but I've never enjoyed math as much as I have tonight.
Oh.
Because I know that every time I add, that means more money for our programs, right? For our people, to support people living with dementia. So our current total is, with tonight's show and yesterday's show, is $17,250. So thank you so much to everybody who has donated, who has purchased a ticket, who has told a friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I don't know if we can get it to that $20,000 mark before the end of the show. We're going to stick around. We'll be here. A guy can hope, but thank you to everybody that's donated. It means the world to us.
Oh, absolutely. The push is on. So if you were thinking of donating, now's the time to get online and do it, because we really have to have those numbers high before we say goodnight to you, which is coming up shortly. But in the meantime, just before we do that, I'd like to introduce also Robin Myers, the Director of the Community Support Services of Care4. If Robin's available, we can talk to Robin for a second.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
I
There you
think they were going to turn on my camera, but in case they don't, thanks, Patrick, for asking me to come and talk with you.
Oh, no, I really appreciate your time. Maybe you can give us a little idea of what you do in a day.
Well, what we do at Care for in a day, or myself?
Sure. Let's
specifically?
do Care for, because we don't know.
Yeah.
what you do. Maybe you'll lie to us. We don't know.
Well, yeah, like lately I've been pretty much at home, so it's not that exciting of what I do in a day, except for sitting, you know, at a computer. So for our programs that we're raising money for tonight, you know, it's an incredible work from our staff to be able to change from working in person to working virtually. And you can imagine, you know, a lot of people have difficulty using a computer or a tablet or an iPad or something like that. And our staff were able to work with our caregivers and their families and the people that they were working with living with dementia. And within like 5 or 6 days, we were offering virtual program very similar to what we were doing in person.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So how often do the staff get to, the caregivers get to be with the people?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so things like exercise programs, we've done virtual art with an art therapist who's just really talented. Recently, we've been doing a cooking class with one of the staff and her dog, Coco. And, you know, we're going into, it's really cute, actually.
Delicious.
Dogs are always cute.
Oh, did I get that wrong? Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay. You know, and going into people's homes every day and trying to keep them still very active and engaged, and the connections. And then you mentioned also our program for people who are living with young onset. You know, that program was done outside and a lot of physical activity, because people who are younger are still very physically capable. So we used to, you know, do exercise classes and running and, you know, play basketball. Haven't been able to do those things, but the group is really happy to still be connecting 3 times a week for an hour. And then they've even done, when it's been safe, some outdoor activities, walks in nature and stuff.
Well, the routine must be so important to the patients, I guess, finding that routine in their day that they trust that you're coming.
Absolutely. You know what? You mentioned something that's really important for people living with dementia,
Hi
placing a
there.
routine in your life.
Just watching the show of Crack Up Comedy. Whoops.
That's okay. Thanks, Gail. Thanks for watching us tonight. Really appreciate it. Yes, it's really important to have routine in your life, and trust, and being able to do things like feeling valued and respected, and having other people who are going through the same thing as you to talk to about it, right? So peers who are also living with dementia, and the staff. I mean, you heard tonight, you know, how incredible the staff are at being able to make connections with the clients that they work with and their families. And it's so true. We're so very proud of everybody at Care for.
And the unfortunate, one of the many cruel appendages to dementia, but sometimes families don't even know it's going to be in your family until maybe some senior starts to develop. You hear an uncle has it and you're surprised because it's never been in your family before. And as you start to see some of the people age, other family members are suddenly developing this. And so it can be in your gene pool and you don't even know it yet. So it's important just to be aware of this and how it plugs into our community and how it's affecting people. Also, the millennials at this point have the opportunity to learn from all this. So by the time we start to progress, the things will get better. Much like the COVID situation now, we have shots. It's only going to get better. So I'm really impressed with the work that Care for is doing, because it's teaching the young people out there that, you know, we matter. I'm going to need you very soon, and I want them to know that. So thank you very much, Robin, for all your work and all the support that all your staff is doing. It's just been fantastic to be involved with this. So thank you for letting us be involved, and for your work too.
Well, thank you for tonight and for yesterday and for all the kind words that everyone said. But, you know, there's no need to thank me. I'm just, you know, one of the lucky people that gets to work with all these amazing people across our community who help people stay safely in their homes during this. So thank you.
Marvelous. Well, thanks very much. And you know what, I think that we're running out of time, so we're going to press on with the show right now. Actually, this next comedian is a great friend of mine, and he's been around for years, especially with Crack Up. He's been working with this in mental health for years. He's known as the bipolar Buddha of comedy. He's a motivational speaker as well for ADD, and kids are his #1 objective in life. He's just a fantastic guy. You're going to love him. He's worked with the Children's Wish Foundation, where he did like a rooftop session for 14 days. He's done an 8.5-hour comedy session raising money. He's got Tazzy Reads. He's read over 802 books to children. You can look online and find that. This man is plugged in, he's alive, and he's with us tonight live. Please welcome the fantastic Big Daddy Taz.
Look what happens. This is what happens when you wear a shirt that's the same color as your green screen right there. That's what it is. Patrick, how are you, buddy?
I'm great. Great. Thanks for doing this, Taz. So good to see you, man.
Oh man, I'm excited and nervous because with my OCD and there's no cameras on and I can't see people's faces. So it's freaking me out, and I've been a pain and John, and we should give John a round of applause. Jim Helke, they give him a round of applause for the cracking up. There it is.
Go, John.
Put on some cameras for me, because I'll tell you, I just freaking out back here, and everybody's so funny. And then I had to follow Mary Walsh, which is ridiculous. Next time I should read. I'm gonna go first next time before the show even starts. That way. And Trevor, thank you very much. You know what, Trevor? I thought it was really great when you said I'm not good at math, but every time I add the total grows, which is good, because if you had said, hey, every time it adds, every third time I get a new PlayStation, that would be wrong of you to do that, because I'm just saying. And
whatever motivates people.
It does motivate. This is great. And here, what you can do is that I'm not going to tell a joke until we reach 20 grand. So there we go.
You have a $3,000 joke?
That's it. 20 grand. That was the one thing too I want to do. So, and by the way, by giving a total doesn't mean that you can't donate some more. 833-922-2734. Give that, ring those phones, as they say in Saskatchewan. And and by the way, on my phone right here, it says it's sort of cut off. It says Care for Crack. So like maybe it should be cracking up the Capitol, but I think it says Care for Crack. And yeah, I don't know what, I don't know. Maybe I'm at the wrong fundraiser. I don't know. But this is, I'm nervous. This is fun. It's, I'm happy that I'm here to be part of this. And yesterday was awesome. We got to play the Care for people in a Family Feud style thing with well, you were the captain, Patrick, there, and it was a lot of fun. And there was some great, we didn't actually win. There were a couple answers that the Care for people gave that just saying, maybe, yeah, just, name a food that if you put it on your table and it falls off, it might roll across the floor. And somebody says, Robin, don't even give me that finger. I'm not even about to talk to you about yours yet. It was, and I'm not going to tell you who it was, but it rhymes with Steve. Golf ball. And we're like, what's going on? And then Robin said ball. And the judges who weren't who were supposed to be impartial, but apparently they didn't have a dictionary, and so they didn't know what impartial meant. It just ball, and it, bing, meatball. So yeah, there were times where it took a little longer for the answers to come up from the Care for people, and I think that's because the judges were typing out the answers that the Care for people said. Just saying. And it's been a year, over a year, like however many months. My last time I was on stage was March 8th, and I'm so anxious to get back on stage and not get rid of I just want the pandemic to be behind me, to be honest with you, because I like doing these Zoom shows, because I don't have to, like tonight. I was, while you guys were doing the show, I had some pizza and I dropped it on my pants. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to change my pants. And then I went, no, I don't. Why would you even wear pants? I'm wearing pants now. I'm wearing pants right now. I'll tell you why. Because we have cats. And I think that's probably all you need to know about that. That I'm wearing 2 pairs of jeans and an extra sock. So I'm just telling you that's just because, yeah, no, the cats they don't know that I'm on the call, and they just like, hey, what's that? And I'm like, that was mine. That's not yours. That's not yours at all. You leave that alone. And people, I don't know if anybody else is like this, but people are calling them all the time and calling me and saying, oh, what did you do with all your time down? Well, cried a lot. Pride, and they're like, "Oh, we did projects. Did you do projects?" Yeah, I grew this beard. That's all I did. That's all I grew. I look like Fred Penner if he collected money for the Irish mob. That's what I look like. What it is, you know. The cash came back. But anyway, what I was just, they're all like, "No, you guys should all, you know, you should have done some projects." I taught my son Swahili, and I made a live penguin out of Oreo scraps or whatever they made. I don't know what they did, but it wasn't as I'm just saying, you know what, they used to do a project with your family. We did. My wife and I, at the 10-month mark, we got together and we put a lock on the knife drawer, which we thought was pretty good. We needed to do that for self-preservation. I'm not gonna lie to you at all. My wife is so happy that I'm downstairs right now. Oh yeah, because I've been trying all my new jokes out on her, and there's a point where, you know, and it's not as much fun when you're trying to make one person laugh. It's which is what it sounds like today. But when you're trying to make one person, it's hard because I live for the laughter. I get my timing for the laughter. That's why this show is going so fast, because I don't know when to stop talking because there's no laughter. I'd be like, do. And I'm like, oh, that's very funny of me right there.
Yeah.
And that I just said that, but it's hard. And I I went and saw my psychiatrist too, because I was getting very depressed and I went and saw my psychiatrist, and I talk openly about my mental health and my health, lack of other health. Really, I went to see my doctor 2 days ago, and my cardiologist, because I have some heart problems. He said I was very generous. He said I had a big heart, but no, enlarged heart. But anyway, I went and I saw the doctor, and he goes, "Okay, Taz, come here. This is where we step on the scale. This is where your weight was pre-COVID." And there you go. The step on the scale, and I stepped on it, and I went bing, and like sparks and stuff flew off. And my doctor, who is hilarious, he goes, Devinder is his name. He goes, "Taz, why do you even come here? Like, why bother? Why the hell do you? Why don't we have this meeting at Burger King or something? That would be very good. Let's just have it at Burger King. That's where you like." But I'm from Winnipeg. That's what I was going to say. Hi from Winnipeg, Paul Razblauskas. I can't say his last name's worth 95 in Scrabble with even. But it was. I went and saw my psychiatrist and my doctor in the same couple of days. My psychiatrist now does it over the phone because he's agoraphobic. But he said, "Let's talk to your friends." And I said, "Oh, that's good," because I thought they were all imaginary, seriously. But we were trying to, he said, "You just have to have patience." And I said, "Patience? I don't have patience. If I had patience, I'd be able to taste the second bite of pizza, right? Like, I'm the guy that I jam it in my mouth, and then there's like blistering flaps of skin on my mouth there. And then he said, "Listen, Jazzy, what I need you to do, I need you to focus." And I said, "What?" And he goes, "No, Jazzy, I need you to focus on what you have at the pandemic instead of what you lost." And I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, just focus on what you still have." And I said, "Yes, that's crushing debt and insecurity and anxiety. So that's what I still have. So I'm focusing on that, which is awesome." The best part is that they wouldn't give you your medication for 3 months at a time. They're like, no, you got to come back every month and get your medication. I go, "Well, we've been in lockdown for a long time, so I haven't had my meds in a while, but I have my other meds, if you know, because I have two pharmacists. One has a white coat and the other one has a jean jacket. But anyway, and my psychiatrist goes, "You should go outside. You should try jogging." Yeah, like there's not enough potholes in the city already. Seriously, right? Oh, it's okay. I'm allowed to make jokes about my weight. By the way, I lied. I actually am down to 243 from 280, so I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's because buffets are closed. But anyway, what The skip the dishes guy says, I don't even need to know. I phone now, right? I'll phone the restaurant. They go, hey Taz, like it doesn't even, they have me on call display because they know I'm gonna be, I love food. Oh my gosh. My doctor says, well, you're eating your emotion. Yeah, well, what emotion's bacon cheeseburger? Because that's my favorite emotion. And I was trying to lose weight too, because my doctor said to me, Tazzy, you gotta have between 6 and 9 small portions of protein every day. So I heard poutine. So like, I don't know whose fault that is. Maybe, you know, I had lots of poutine because I thought he said poutine, but I knew I'd been eating too much poutine because the other day I was working outside and I nicked my finger and I smell gravy. But I'm just saying, it's delicious right now. And that's why you know, it's just, I don't know. But and we're in Winnipeg today. Today, by the way, plus 18, went for a walk. I walked for 5 kilometers because I have ADD. And I didn't mean to walk 5 kilometers, but I saw my first butterfly. So let's see where they're going. And in traditional Winnipeg fashion too, no word of a lie. Tomorrow, by the end of tomorrow and Monday afternoon, 15 centimeters of snow. Not even a joke. Wow. Not even a joke. It's just like that's 15 centimeters of snow. That's what we're gonna have. Welcome. Well, today's shorts. Tomorrow, let's knit some toques for the mosquitoes, right? And we've got big mosquitoes. People go, oh, Northern Ontario has big. No, you don't. What you have there are mosquitoes that couldn't make it here in Winnipeg and went back home. I saw a mosquito yesterday, WestJet symbol on the side. Not even a lie. And it was weird too. And you know what? And I wouldn't be broke, by the way. I'd be financially okay for the next 2 years if WestJet and Air Canada would please give me my money that I spent on flights I wasn't able to use them last year. Just saying. My views do not reflect those of Care4, Patrick McKenna, or in any way. But give me my money back. That's not your money. I went to, and so what happened today? Patrick knows this. I was a little late coming down here because I was on the website trying to see, because they said, oh, you know, Air Canada's going to give some money back. So I'm on the website, and it froze my computer. So even when I'm not flying them, Air Canada is delaying me. That's not right. I don't think that's really good. And it's cold. It's been cold here the last little bit. They'll go outside. It was so cold a week ago that I went outside and took a breath in and my tongue stuck to my teeth. Like, it's cold. It's ridiculously cold. And I don't have any hair. Look at this. There's nothing to hold it to. And so I put on a toque, right? And no matter how much I jam it over my face, like I got it right across, and you think my eyebrows would just, and there's 2 there because I went, but there was, you'd think my eyebrows would hold on to the toque thingy, but it doesn't. And so within about, no matter how hard I jam it on my head, within about, I don't know, 13, 14 minutes of being outside, I look like I'm a poorly knit condom, right? Because it's just all up like that. It's ridiculous. And I just miss going. I miss you guys. I miss going and seeing you fellas and ladies and peoples. And I want to come to Ottawa. Cracking up the capital, so much fun. And I want to do a show for Care4. And I just want to have fun, you know. And I don't that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I've got this is hard because I'm trying to listen with my eyes, and I can see Robin laughing and Trevor calculating. And Joe, how are you? Joe just looks like I like this, but we just and Gail, I can see every time somebody laughs, the screen lights up a little bit, so I can see Gail laughing and things like that. It's great, I love it. And Steve Gramakalapanolos, that's a long name. Holy smokes, that's awesome. There's a reason I call myself Taz, because I can spell it. It's on my. Hey George, how are you, buddy? You look like if Mr. Dressup and Walter Gretzky had a kid. Goodness. Mr. Dressup was pretty awesome too. I like Mr. Dressup. He's a little creepy though. I was freaked out by Mr. Dressup because Casey could talk, but his lips didn't move, and Finnegan's mouth moved, but he didn't talk. So I was freaked out for a long time. And it was, a lot of people don't realize, apparently he drank a lot, man. And you should know too that he drank. I mean, he was inviting people over to his house to, you know, tickle his trunk. That's not right. I'm just saying, hey. But and what came after Mr. Dressup? Do you remember that? Remember what came after Mr. Dressup? Somebody say it. What was it?
Friendly Giant.
Friendly Giant. That's right, the Friendly Giant. And he was a giant wearing, what did he wear? Does anybody remember what he wore?
The thong.
Well, that's bad. I don't. But he did wear.
That's a friendly giant.
That's the extra friendly giant. That's the no. He wore one of them skirts, and then he told little kids to look way up. So I'm just saying maybe it wasn't long. That could have been it. And he'd been over to Mr. Dressup's house too, because one, he talked to a purple giraffe and a rooster in a bag. I almost said a different word for rooster, but anyway. So what? But I just and he'd been to Mr. Dressup's house, because what did Rusty the rooster live in? A Crown Royal bang nailed to a wall. There you go. That's it. That's Canadian broadcasting at its best. And I want to be, did I mention I want to be a children's entertainer? I love kids. My Tassie Reads program, if you've got kids, or if you just want to have a giggle each night at 7:30, which is, let's see, your time would be, it's different in time zones. So 7:30 here would be 8:30 your time. And in Saskatchewan, it's 1977. But anyway, it's just different. But you have to, it's called Tassie Read Stuff. And if you got kids, this is a shameless plug, and I don't know why it's a plug. It's not a plug if you don't get paid for it, right? So and so go and you can under Tassie Reads hashtag. I don't even know hashtag, right? I'm so old. I said number sign. My son goes, Dad, whatever. He goes, you're too old to know that stuff. And I went, oh, I'm not too old to ground you. But anyway, but I can't ground him because I need him to shovel tomorrow. But so hashtag Tassie Reads on Facebook, and also on YouTube. There's over 300 episodes, which to CBC is like that's probably like 9 years of programming for sure. That's awesome. And then I got a really, this is really cool. I'll share this with you. I wrote a song called 7 Little Fishies. It goes, 7 little fishies swimming in the sea, 7 little fishies that are swimming with me. One swam up just to say bloop, 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 and he swam. Well, thank you. And I was terrified. I promised. So I was terrified at the beginning to sing in public or to do anything in public at the beginning of this Tassie Reads, but I promised a little child that I would, and I did. And we had my 1-year anniversary, and Fred Penner and Al Simmons and some really awesome, great folks tuned in, and Fred heard the song. So I get a text the other day. I'll just hey Tassie, I love the song. Would you mind terribly if I added music to it? And I wrote, hey Penner, stay on your side of the road. But would I mind an international children's starter add music to it? No, I wouldn't, Mr. Penner, sir. And so that's awesome. And then I just wanted to talk a little bit about, take care of your mental health. It's really important to take care of your mental health. Right now, I think maybe I shouldn't have had all the sugar I had while I was waiting for 2 reasons. 1, I thought they were sugars-free drinks. It turns out they weren't. And 2, I don't know how long I have to do, but I know that just like sleeping in, my bladder might interrupt this. But that's just gonna talk for a little bit longer, if that's okay, because I haven't had I've had lots of kids crowds. Like I did a show for the students, and online, like a show like this, and the one little girl goes, oh, I think I love you because you make me laugh so much. I'm like, oh, I want to meet your mom. And I said, well, because I didn't want to say where my mom was, but we don't have a yes or no. But I said, she says, but I want you to meet my mom because I think you'd like her, and she's really pretty, and she makes really good pho, which is a good soup. But you're gonna have to get rid of your beard because my mom doesn't go for guys with beards. I said, oh, okay, well, let me introduce you to my wife, Miss Kristen. So when we do the how many times can I say so a needle pulling thread? But and I do, by the way, there's ADD in our family. We think we started to Google it, but found out that but my son definitely has ADD, attention deficit disorder. I can't just say ADD because during a TV taping a number of years ago, a lady yelled out, "That's an alarm system." I said, "No, that's ADT." Different. Huge. You don't want ADD alarms. Let me tell you, that's straight up. There's somebody in my house and he's got a knife. I got a blue bike. Well, yeah. But I wanted to mention this too. Hey, could anybody, I don't know, maybe the government of Canada could figure out one recipe for hand sanitizer would be good. And if you could get that right, because I don't know who makes the hand sanitizer in some of these stores, but I don't know. It's not supposed to be made with Elmer's glue and stuff. Like, it's just gross. Like, I don't know how I clean my hands. Well, I know how clean my hands are because my thumbprint isn't recognized by my phone anymore. It was just, I just thought of that in my head just now. So that's pretty good. But the other thing, I don't think my hands are as clean as the sides in front of my pants are clean, because I don't know if anybody else does that. Like, oh, curl and then just rub their pants. So my pants perfectly, well, they're over there, but anyway, they're really, oh, that's really good, you know. And I just think and one of the things that was bothering me, because I love people, right? Not every, I do love everybody. It's just different increments. I don't want to, I spent my life not loving people, including myself, so that was a big thing to figure out. But when I went through the store, one of the first times when they started making masks mandatory, because at the beginning they weren't mandatory. They were like, people were like, what, are you wearing a mask? I had a big guy, like a great big guy, massively huge guy, who had a life-size tattoo of Arnold Schwarzenegger, only bigger. Like, he was massive, right? And then he looked at me and goes, why are you wearing a mask? I said, well, do you think that's going to save your life? And this big side of beef yelling at me, right? And I knew him from the car community. And well, he drives a truck. He doesn't fit in a car. Well, I bet you, yeah, you know how hard it is to buff out stretch marks, right? So anyway, he was in this, he's just like, you know, you think, Taz, that thing's saving your life? And I said, well, it's saving my life now. He goes, why? Because you're wearing a mask? I said, no, because you can't see what I'm mouthing behind the mask. That's not COVID, by the way. That's a cat. Oh yeah, the cat's like, ha, 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 ha. Well, maybe you learn to take a shower instead of trying to clean yourself with your tongue, and you wouldn't ha, ha, ha. Oh yeah, I didn't know what that sound was when I first heard it. I heard ha, ha, ha. I mean, somebody put a goose in my house. This is ridiculous. What's going on? Oh yeah, and then I came out and I'm like, what are you doing? And the cat looked at me coming, ha, ha, ha. He made eye contact, and I was like, that's ridiculous. What are you? I said, stop it. And he stopped it. And I thought it was the cat whisperer. Turns out, no, he realized he was on the hardwood floor, and he's like, I got to get to the carpet. That's what I got to do. Wear your shoes. So now, oh, and you know what? You know what's worse than being woken up in the middle of the night by is not being woken up by that. Because then the next morning when you wake up, you say, what did I just step in? No. Now I'm going, oh man, you think I would notice because I was going to say my toenails are so long, but that's not even embarrassing. And some people are like, I'm like, shut up. There's not, I bet you if every man on this feed right now ran across their office floor, it sounded like a Doberman Pinscher going across a hardwood floor. Toenail. I don't know. I just wait until I stub my toe and then blame the couch. That made no sense, but I just kept going with it. It's like, have fun, Jazzy. Go for it. And then sometimes they're like, yeah, way to go. And other times my brain's like, I'm not with him. Right? Oh, I started to talk to about a mask, probably. That's what it is. But we had the mask on. And I was smiling at everybody, and I was smiling, and nobody was smiling back because this is before masks became the law. And pardon me. And I'm like, why are nobody? How I'm smiling? And then I realized because I got a mask on, it's hard to smile. Mask can't see. Well, that's it, right? So well, that's not what I do. I don't walk around like that because how am I supposed to drive? Hey, what's good? But and so I realized people don't know I'm smiling. So what I did is I went home and I got some of these disposable masks, right? And well, they were $15 each. I thought they were disposable. My wife was very mad at me throwing them away. But I drew happy face. And of course, Patrick knows this, me being me, it couldn't have just been a little happy face, like an Amazon kind of a happy face. And it was more like a great big goofy smiley buck teeth and a tongue hanging out and stuff like that. And it took me about 15 minutes to draw on each mask, and I put one on, and I went to the store, and then about 20 minutes into it, I realized it doesn't matter to me and nobody's smiling, and then and I thought everything was going to be okay, and my anxiety was gone, and then I realized I'd used Jiffy marker, so to make the mask, to write on the mask, so yeah, so I was huffing that pretty good. everything was pretty okay. We were at everybody was freaking out. We were at Walmart because I'm a Canadian entertainer, and we, pardon me, we it was people are just, there was no music playing, and my young son, Wee Beast, I said to him, you know, it's kind of sad here. And he goes, Dad, it's because there's no music playing. And he goes, I wish there was a way to make people laugh right now. And then he greatly was very upset that he said that to me out loud, because I was like, he goes, Dad, you got that look. And I went, I do have that look. And we were it was very crowded in Walmart, and people were pushing their carts everywhere, and was just quiet. And I just went, Sweet Caroline. and a lady, and yes, exactly. A lady pushing her cart looked at me and went, ba, ba, ba. You know what? And she said to me, she said, you know, thank you. I needed that to be silly. And then we did it together, and more people joined in. It was really cool. And you know what? It's people sort of, they get on me a little bit about being a comedian and being, you know, being a, I muted myself so you didn't have to hear that. I hope I muted myself, otherwise these idiots. Oh, but you know, as a comedian, I'm like the people that yawn, and then other people yawn. I coughed and some people are coughing. I gotta tell you, sometimes I make light of situations and you know, my mental health struggles and triumphs and stuff, and people go, well, what, you shouldn't be such a comedian. Why are you being such a comedian about it? And I go, because my job and Patrick's job and the comedian's job is to find the joy in life, whatever life brings. It's to find that light in the tunnel. It's about helping people take themselves away from their lives for a little bit, and that's why we do this, you know. And I love I love the nurses and the caregivers and the Care For. I didn't know anything about Care For until I got invited to do this, and and I'm getting a little choked up because of the cat, and this is a good memory. my mom, and I shared this with the Care For people yesterday. My mom had stage vascular dementia and early onset dementia. We didn't realize she was having any dementia. We just thought she was forgetful and cranky and that. And we lost her far before she passed. And I want you to dig deep into your pockets. And maybe I'm not supposed to say this as just the comedian, but come on, really, do me a favor, fill your heart and empty your wallet a little bit, because you know these programs that these people are doing, I wish they had it. For when my mom was going, because my dad had dementia as well, right? And my auntie, and it sort of runs in our family. So I'm terrified about the whole thing. And I go see my brain doctor. He hates being called a brain doctor, but I go see him on a regular basis, and we're seeing, you know, maybe if there's a familial like marker that maybe I have. I don't know, but I'm going to tell you a story. My mom. She had her very lucid days, and then she had her days where she was gone. She wasn't Bootsy, right? Pardon me. And there was a day where I was on TV, and there was a new nurse in the full care facility, and a nurse that was there quite a lot much longer. And when one nurse said to the new nurse said to the other nurse, well, you know, Boots she must be crazy today. Right? She thinks that guy on TV is her son, because she had invited everybody to come in to watch my comedy special, and she kept going, that's my son, that's my son. And she's, you know, the nurse said to the other nurse, she must be a little bit off today because she thinks that's her son. And I think her name was Rebecca, is the nurse said, you know, that is her son. That's Tazzy. He comes in here all the time and he visits everybody. And oh, Patrick, remember the word rose. I got to tell you that story when I'm done. I don't know how long I've done. If I have to end it, just shut my mic off. But so anyway, she said, that is son. So don't be so judgmental. Well, you know what? I was quite upset because I heard this story from my mom, which means that the nurses forgot that they were talking in front of her.
Oh.
And you know what? Just because, and they're not bad people, they just forgot. So please remember that within that body is still the mind that was there. it just doesn't remember. And yes, sometimes it gets more violent, and yes, it gets frustrated. Well, why are they so violent? Well, wouldn't you be if all of a sudden you didn't recognize anybody around you, and then one day everybody's wearing masks? You know, and I'm not saying that. I mean, we know that Care for people know too the violent outbursts and the physical outbursts and the verbal abuse that happens. And so I said to Mom, I said, "Do you want me to have a talk with them?" And she goes, "No, I fix." And my mom would make an Irish trucker blush. She goes, "I fixed their wagons, their little red wagons." I said, "Oh, what happened?" She goes, "They wouldn't believe me." And then the commercial came on, and there was a female gymnast, and I went, "That's my son. That's my son." And she, I got called one time to come to because my mom had bit somebody, and I go, "Mom, I drove from Winnipeg to Saskatoon, and I went to the hospital. I said, 'Mom, did you bite somebody?' 'Yes.' I said, 'Okay, why?' 'Well, I fell out of bed and I hurt my hip.' And then the one lady was just so mean, and she said I was faking it, and so she tried to pick me up. My mom didn't weigh much more than 80 pounds at the best of times. She looked like a used Q-tip, just the fuzzy. But hey, she called herself that. Don't be mad at me. But so she goes, and it hurt my hip, and I kept telling me it hurt the hip. So I reached over and I bit him on the shoulder. I bit her right on the shoulder, and I said, "Well, you're not supposed to do that." She goes, "I didn't have my teeth in." Just gave her a little dumb. And my dad, when he had his dementia too, this is the coolest thing. I got to tell you this, and then I'll probably have to go because I forgot to set a timer. So I'll probably way over time. But like I said, please get to at least 25 million. 1,000, I meant. Million would be great. And with Trevor's math ability, he was there twice already, and then he re-added. But
just gotta add a couple zeros.
yeah, my dad. Yeah, just move the decimal. My dad smoked at least 2.5 packs a day, export plain. Yeah, and it was minus a mazillion out, and my sister didn't want to take him out for a smoke, and so he goes, "I gotta go have a smoke," and he's in the full care facility, and my sister Mel said, "Dad, you don't smoke," as a joke, right? And he goes, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, you don't smoke." He goes, "I thought I smoked. This is really? I don't smoke." Okay, well, I guess that's it. And he never smoked again. He never ever asked for another cigarette. It's awesome. Okay, Rose, John, I'm sorry I'm going over time, but you know what? Really, here I am. So my mom said to me, I gave her a hug and a kiss, and then I took her, she was wearing her glasses and then Dad's glasses over. I said, "Here, let me poof." Right? She goes, "Oh, I can see much better." Right? there was a lady named Rose was Mom's roommate after Dad had Dad didn't pass. He went to he was able to go home and have full care there, but Mom was just needed a lot more work. So Rose was there, and she leans forward and she goes, "Tazzy, give Rose a hug too, because she needs a hug. Nobody comes to visit Rose."
Oh.
Okay, so I go and I lean down, and Rose is in a wheelchair there, and I lean down. I give Rose a my mom grabbed my cheek, said that, and she gave me a kiss, right? And then I gave Rose a hug, and she grabbed my face, and she gives me a kiss, and I'm like, whatever. And then she grabbed my ears, and she and her tongue in my mouth, and I was like, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, that's. And she wouldn't let go, and she was a farm strong too. She's holding on. And I used to have an earring here, a big hoop earring. Patrick will remember. I have big, like I think it's. I thought you was a pair. So she had her fingers, and I couldn't pull it. She's holding on, like maybe she was, you know, she's gonna brand me, and she's got her tongue. And then she goes. She gives me one of those, and yeah. So that's my Rose story. It's not pleasant, but I'm just. Feisty still, feisty, but I'm gonna leave you with this probably, unless I ADD somewhere else. You know what? Care for it's a full sentence, by the way. People don't realize that it's a full sentence. It's like, oh, care for what? Well, you know what? Care for, period. Care for others. Care for those around you. Care for those who don't feel like they're worth caring for, and care for yourself. You see, part of what Care for does is what that lovely lady said, was that it gives me a break. And a lot of people don't realize how incredibly hard it is to have to care for somebody that has dementia. That not only because it's a not only because you've lost who you knew and they sometimes treat you like a complete stranger. That's your ego a bit. But what's hard is that you feel like you have to be there all the time. You have to feel like you need to. So you feel terrible when you want to take a break for yourself. And you need a break for yourself. You really do. You need that time to yourself. Every day, somebody should be doing something for them, for your own self, even if it's just a few minutes. And we forget and we feel terrible. And other people make us feel terrible for that. So Care4 is here for you as well. You know what? It's an organization that you hope you never need. But we're so glad it's here in case we do. But if you don't donate, it's not going to be here for us. That's the plain and simple truth. We're in a pandemic, yes. Money's tight, yes. But you know what? Go without for a little bit. Sign up for the month. You can donate a little bit each month, and that's lovely too. So give 833-922-2734 a call and do that. And it's apropos because a day or so ago, I read this post that a friend posted that said they went and saw their grandmother at the care home, and their grandmother said, "Oh, I missed you." And she says, "Do you remember who I am?" And she says, "No, but I remember I love you."
Oh.
And that's what it's all about. So thank you very much for tuning in. Yes, we're joking about things, but it's all about Care4. So remember to care for yourselves and set an example so your kids do the same thing. Because you know what? I read a quote one time that said, never worry about who your kids are going to grow up to be, but always worry about who your kids are going to grow up to be like. And yeah. And Care4, if you ever need a break as well, you give me a call, and Patrick and I, we'll say we'll be doing 10 minutes, and then 2.5 hours later, you'll just hang up on us because we'll try to make your life as great as possible. I love you all. Thank you very much. And please check out the Tassie Reach program for your kids and for yourself. And remember, Care4, and you fill in the blank.
Thanks, Taz. Bless you, brother. That's great. That was fantastic. Great night. Well, that wraps up our show. That's all the guests we have, and that's been plenty. I mean, it's like 2 hours of constant entertainment. We hope you found some time in there to donate as well as laugh. We want to thank you so much. And if you want to hang around, we're going to have Taz is going to be here. We can talk with you a little bit, and myself with you.
Still talk.
Yeah. Oh, try and stop Taz is really, and the people who are going to be here. I mean that in a good way, Tazzy. So stick around. Come on in to the chat room with us, and we'll be happy to see you. Thank you.
I'm getting ready for bed then.
So you're going to have to hurry, but thanks again. All the support you can give, we really appreciate it. And it's care4.ca, crackup.ca, and still time to donate. Take the time. We really appreciate it. Good night, everybody.